Welcome back. We stopped at the character or char at method. Now we're going to continue with ends with and starts with method. Each of those methods take a string as an argument. Of course, that string could be one character if you want to. And all you have to do is just tell me. You can check if a string starts with this or ends with that. Let me just go ahead and show you what do I mean by that. For example, if I come here and create a string, call it name, and I'll put my name. Now, if I come here and say system.out.println, now I'm just going to have to put name dot ends. I think it's ends with, not is, with. And in this area, I'm going to put ed. Let's run it, and you'll notice that it will give me true, because my name actually ends with ed. Now let's just put eb. And those are just test false. Now let's just put an AH and put starts with. And let's run it again. And it's true. Okay, so those methods are created. Now, there's a method that, in my opinion, is the most important one of them, which is the substring. Oh, we're not there yet. Let's see, when are we going to talk about that? Here it is. So replace, you can actually, I'm not going to test them. You can try them by yourself. I don't want to make those videos really long. But again, if you have, for example, ed in your string and you want to replace it with ing, for example, so you can actually type the string name dot replace, and you put, this should have two, replace all the occurrence of the same character with a string. Let me try that, actually. I've never tried it before. Yep, let's go back here and say name dot replace. Okay, so you have to tell me what you're going to replace what with what. So basically, it's with all the occurrence of some character within the string. Well, I don't like this about the PowerPoint. Let me just go ahead and look at the documentary of this method. Okay, Java string. What is it called again? Replace method. Just remember, I just want to see if I can see. Okay, here we go. By the way, I really like this website. They just give you what you're looking for. See, old character and new character. Well, is it character or is it a string of characters? Actually, just characters, so my bad. It should be just characters. Now let's go to the PowerPoint and see what did the PowerPoint said. Some character within the string. Okay, I see what's going on. Oh, so it's a single character. My bad. Let's go ahead and do that. So I will replace the uppercase A with the lowercase a. Now let me try to print it after that. System.out.println. And I'll put name. Put semicolon here. I don't think that will modify. Well, that actually should modify it. Oh no, that didn't happen. So basically, you just have to come here and say name equal that. And here we go. So I got that part. ToString method. Well, this is going to be a really big deal in next course of Java class, the object-oriented programming. Well, but basically, there's a special method available in every single class, and that method is called ToString, which basically would allow you to convert whatever you have into a string. If you have an integer, the integer is going to be turned into a string. If you have a double, it's going to be converted into a string. Now, every other class that has been created that's part of the standard library does have that toString method. And when you're going to create your own class and your own classes and implementation, you need to include toString inside. Basically, this will convert the data members of a class into a string. Here, this example just to show you, like you have a string and you have an integer, and here you type integer.toString and you put the integer here, and then whatever that integer is going to be converted to a string, so it's not a number anymore. How do I mix strings? Well, basically we can use the plus operator and that will work just fine. So if I come here, for example, and I will just put first name, just to make it first name, and we'll just put string, and we'll just put first name here. Now if I go and do the last name, of course I have to define a string for that. Now I can come here and just type Kinani. If I want to have a new string, full name, and I want to mix between the first name and last name, all I have to do, just type first name plus last name. Now, this will not be the best, because if I just, let me try to print that last name. Okay, sorry, the full name, that's what I'm trying to print. So full name, you'll notice that it's just going to be one word with no spaces. And here it is. So if I actually put a spaces, I will need to actually come here between them and just put a space. And this basically will just connect those strings together and produce one string that contains all of those strings that we have here. It will be a lot better if I keep this to be, let's put a lowercase here and try to change the lowercase to an uppercase. Okay, so let's keep going. Let me just run it really fast. And here we go. Let's go to the PowerPoint deck again. Substring. Now, as I said, this is a big deal. Oh, yeah, I have an example here, so that's not bad. Substring, basically, when you want to divide or cut a part of your string. And with substrings, usually you need to know the beginning and the end that you want to cut. And usually we go with the position, the starting position, the end position. Usually the end position doesn't include the character that's pointing at. So what does that mean? Let's just go have some examples, so that'll make a lot of sense. I'm just going to go ahead and put some system, and I'm going to put a test string here. Test string first. I'll call it test str. And let's just put some characters. And look at this. I'm going to use a string with digits here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to put semicolon here. So this is again a string. It's not a number. It's a string. And remember, the first character is 0, and the index of the first character is basically 0. So that makes it a little bit, it makes a lot of sense. Now, if I come here, and let's just put it this way, I'm going to put 1, and I'm going to put 4. So basically, sorry, I need to, let me just start with this. It's called test str dot substring. And I'm going to put 1 here, and I'm going to put 4 here. Okay, what did I miss here? Why didn't I like this my substring? Oh, lowercase s. Who would guess? They uppercase it when they want to uppercase it, and they don't uppercase it when they don't want to uppercase it. Okay, so let's go back here. So this is 1. 1 is going to be included. It's going to go all the way to 4, but 4 is not going to be included. So let's just give this a try. I don't think I'm making any mistakes, but Yes, I'm not making any mistakes. Well, that's perfect. So as you can see here, whenever you want to cut part of your string, you need to know the first character, the index or the position or the integer that represents the location of that character, and the last character. Now remember, the last character is not going to be included, so that's something you have to put under consideration. Now, what if I repeat this, but I just have one argument, like 1? Well, it looks like we don't have any issues here. So what is that telling me? Telling me if you don't mention the last character, it's going to go all the way to the end. So basically, 1 all the way to 9. And here you go. You can see it here. I do think we have a lot of more combinations, just those 2. Maybe I could skip characters. I don't know. Every single programming language has this substring function. So let me just go ahead and look at the library, because the PowerPoint is not mentioning that much. Region match is basically not, it's a method that's available, it's not used that much, and you can imagine from the name of it, if you need to read about it, just go and look for Geeks and see what they talk about. But again, it's not a big deal. I'm going to just stop at this point, and I'm going to go and check Geeks for Geeks. And I'll just say Java substring. I just want to make sure that Java actually covered all the combinations of arguments. So let's say here, integer, let's go all the way to the end. And does we have 10 and 16? Okay, that's another case. And 3, just 3, that's another case. But yep, basically Java doesn't have that much of cases. Let me just tell you some other programming languages, what they do. If you come here and put a greatest value like 6 and 5 and 1, well, no, that's not that part. You can put, for example, 1 and 4 and put 2. So basically you're going to start skipping character getting to the end. You can have a negative value. It means you're just going to have to substring it in the reverse order. Good news, we just have 2 cases, so we don't have to worry about that. You specify the beginning and the end, or you just specify the beginning, and the end is going to be basically the whole string. I don't know if you guys like the fact that I'm jumping between the PowerPoint and the slides or not. If you guys can let me know, I'll be happy. Otherwise, I'll just go back to the old method, have the PowerPoint in a different computer, and just have the Eclipse here. We do have, and I think I mentioned this before, yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about this before, so that basically means I don't have to go and spend a long time here. So let's go ahead and talk about what is the meaning of integer class. You guys remember when we used the graphic user interface to ask the user to enter some numbers, and not even with that scanner itself, we said we can, not the scanner, sorry, the graphic user interface, yes. When you create a GUI application and you ask the user to enter a value, whatever the user is going to enter is going to be basically a string. So we need to have a way to convert that string to an integer. Now, if you have an integer, you want to convert it to a string, basically there is a class, a method called toString, so you just type integers dot toString, and you convert whatever integer you have to a string. I don't want that. I want to do the opposite. I want to convert a string to an integer. So you just need to make sure that whatever characters you have there are actually digits to be able to convert them to an integer. And the idea here is basically there's a function called parseInt. And then parseInt basically will convert that string into an integer. And we also have the parseDouble. And I am pretty sure I showed you to an integers. And then there's another thing, which again, integers, by the way, let me just tell you this could get you a little bit confused. Integers, they could be a primitive data types or they could be objects. And this is again what I don't like about Java. They just keep adding to its stuff, making it a little bit more complicated. So if you want to convert, let's just put it this way, a string to a primitive data type integer, which is basically what we've been doing in this class most of the time, parse integer. But if you want to convert it to the integer object, well, that's a little bit more complicated. And you're just going to have to use a value of or integer value to get that done. Again, you don't have to worry about that part. You just need to know about it. Same thing with the doubles. Let me just show you an example about that. So if I have a string, I will call it num, and I'll put 1, 2, 3 here. Now, let's say I have an integer, x equal 10, and let's put here integer y equal, let's say x plus num. Immediately you will notice that we got an error here. Basically, you're adding an integer to a string, and they try to assign it to an integer. So that's why he doesn't like it. But let's try to show it on the screen and see what's going to happen. System.out.print line. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. And you would notice it's going to be 10, 1, 2, 3. So basically the 10 wasn't added to the 123 because, again, both of them are strings. Sorry, because this one is a string, this one is an integer. Now let me just put the x at the end, and you would notice that I will get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So what if I want to add the 10 to this value? Well, here's what we need to do. Let's come here and create another integer. Let's call it y. And then all I have to do is type integer dot parse int. And I am pretty sure I'm missing something because the parse looks like it's a little bit longer. P-A-R-S-E. Yep, now it's gone. And now here's what I can do. Instead of all this, let me just cut this part, replace the number with. So that basically means we're just going to get the integer value and use it in the calculation. And let's run it now. And you see 133. So that's how it works. And I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the semester we talked about that. Now it's the part where we're going to talk about integer builders or integer buffers. Now let me just take this away from here, put it all the way down here. And by the way, I posted a video that has a lot of details about the differences between them and between the regular string. So let me close this console, run it, make sure that everything's clear and everything's saved. Okay, let's go to the PowerPoint. Now, why do I need a new type of strings, which is basically what we call string builder and string buffer? Well, let's go back to the original problem that we have with strings. We said strings are immutable. And because they are immutable, when you change the value of a string or when you assign a new string to a new string, we said the previous value is going to be the garbage, and then you'll have two variables pointing to the same memory location. Now, what if that doesn't help me? What if this technique that Java people decided to use is actually causing me some problems? Again, I don't have any examples of what type of problems, but that could be a case. You may find yourself the type of application that you're running here, artificial intelligence, something very, very important and complicated. The way that Java process strings basically is killing your idea. Well, Java people said, you don't have to worry anymore. We give you string builder and string buffers. Now, string builders and string buffers are a different type of strings where you can create them just like you create a regular string. Instead of starting with a string, you start with a string builder or string buffer. Now, just think about them both as the same thing. And then by the time I'm done with the class, I'll tell you what's the difference between them. And then you'll see even the differences, you don't have to worry about it that much. So what's going to happen with a string builder and a string buffer? The idea here is, let me go back to the code here. If you just imagine those two strings, and yes, let's just imagine this is a string builder and this is a string builder. Okay? And if you decided to change the value of name2 to Ali, now with a regular string, this is what's going to happen. Let's remember this. Java will say, oh, I already have an object named one that's called Ali. So why do I create another one? Well, I'll just make those two names point to the same object. String builder will say, no, thank you, I don't want that. I want you to have two objects, name1 and name2. Name1 has the value of Ali, and name2 has the value of Ali. Name1 has the value of Ali, and name2 has the value of Ali. I don't want you to use both of them to point to the same object in the memory. That's the main difference between a string and a string builder or a string buffer. Basically, they allow you to assign strings, change values, and do whatever you want to do without the need to produce garbage and ask for the garbage collector to clean it. You may ask the question, why would I want to do that? Well, I'll give you one idea here. What if that garbage collecting feature that we're talking about is a heavy process or takes a long time? Or what if I don't have memory? I don't even have a space to produce garbage. I'm very, very limited. Well, if that's the case, well, string builder or string, you're not going to produce any garbage, so that will be a good case. So here we go. This is, again, two different classes. And again, they work exactly the same way. There's nothing different between them for you as a programmer. But the details inside them, how do they work? They're a little bit different. And let's see if here it is. When I was just looking for it. String builder is more efficient. String buffer is a thread safe and used in multiple threads programs. Now, those two topics, usually they cover them in postgraduate studies, like for master's students and PhD students. You don't have to worry about them, but I'm just going to give you a very, very basic idea. What do they mean? Let's start with the string builder. It's more efficient. What does it mean more efficient? More efficient basically means it's executed faster. Thread safe. What is a thread? Basically, let me just summarize this in one word. There is a way. Let me just go back in time. So sorry for getting you confused a little bit. Let me just start fresh now. Processors, when they created them a long time ago, you have one. Let me just go back here. Processors, a long time ago, they were one core. After that, we start getting two cores in a single chip. And then after that, we start getting 4 cores in a single chip. After that, we start getting every single core can execute 2 threads. Think about threads as a program right now at the same time. So overall, a 4-core processor can execute 8 programs or processes at the same time. What I'm saying here, the processor itself, it's moving from serial execution into parallel execution. You can execute multiple threads, multiple programs at the same time. Now, that process by itself is not easy. It's very complicated. You need to get inside the details of the CPU to understand how does it work. Now, sometimes some data types produce wrong results when you treat them with multiple threads. I'll give you an example. Imagine you have a variable called x, and you have two programs trying to have access to that x at the same time, and they want to update it and change it. So sometimes that will lead to a lot of problems. The bottom line, again, you don't have to. If I give you a headache, just forget about it. All you have to know is if you have a project and you're supposed to use multiple threads, then string buffer is your friend. If multiple threads is not an issue, you're not going to use it, you're not really concerned with the optimization of your application, then string builder is going to be your friend. Okay, so with that being said, that's basically the main difference. Now, the video that I showed you, it will actually execute them for you, and it will show you the details about how the string builder is faster. Okay, so how do we create string builders? Well, the idea is very simple, as you can see here. String builder, whatever you want to call it, new string builder, and you put hello world or hello there or hello whatever you want, just like any string. Now, string buffer is going to be no different, very, very similar. One thing we should know about string builder and string buffer, we have what we call capacity, and we have what we call length. Those two terms are very important. When you create a string builder, it will have a capacity, and the capacity basically means you are allowed to have this number of characters in this string. 20. Probably it's 20. I remember it's 20, yes. So, okay, I have a 20. Now, what if I just assigned 1, 2, 3 to it? Well, that will be the length. Length basically represents how many characters, and the capacity will tell you how many spaces you have for characters. Now, what if the original capacity is not enough anymore? For example, if I have 20 characters, 20 capacity is 20, and I have, let's say, 22. Well, basically, your compiler is going to realize that the initial capacity value or space available are not enough anymore, so it's going to double it, so make it at 40. And that's basically what we have. And then you can actually set, you can check the capacity, and it's going to tell you how much you have there. What's the set length do? The length of the string. Well, that's not. The length of a string can be different from the length of the buffer. Okay. Let me just keep going here. Does it say anything about that here? No, not. And that's why you need to go to the book every time you're having an issue here. So we got the length and we got the capacity. I know the capacity. This example just to show you how the capacity works. Using a string builder objects. Those are the constructors. You can actually pass nothing. You can pass a string, or you can pass the capacity just to reserve the space that you want. Those are the methods. Okay, we're almost done. Just let me just go and show you those methods and how do they work. Before we do that, let's go back to Java, and I'm going to go all the way down, and let's say here string builder. Now we'll just call it strb equal new string builder. And here we go. In this area, you can send nothing if you want. You can decide how much capacity you want. 5 if I want. If you didn't specify, it's going to be 20. Or you can just pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now this is my string builder. Now let me just show you, if I want to show it on the screen. Control C, Control V, and of course, just show me what is that strb. Run it just like any string. Nothing different. Okay, let me just put dot capacity. Let's run it. And here, yeah, I remember it was 21, not 20 actually. Let me put length. Well, you know what? strb. Let me just put those together. Oh, I don't know why I deleted them. Control C, Control V, Control V. Dot capacity dot length. Yep, let's run it. Yeah, remember the length should be just the number of characters that I have, which is 5. Okay, now look what I'm going to do. If I come here, and let me make it a little bit longer. So this is 5. I want to make it Control C. It's 10, 15, 20, 25. Let's run it again. So the number of characters 25, and look at this, 41. Do you see what's going on? When you pass that limit of the initial capacity, it's basically going to go and take it as you want. Now let me just show you something else. What if I come here? You know what? Let me just cut this, Control X, and go down here and type strb equal that number. Well, this is not going to change anything. Well, no, you're not allowed to do that. Cannot convert a string to a string builder. Oh, yeah. Sorry, that was not a good idea. How do I assign a value to a string B? Not you again. So the band, yep, you can add to it string builder. Well, of course, not all the operations apply to. Let's go put it back again. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of a string builder unless you have to. But again, this is the case that we have here. If I take this away and run it, well, of course, there's no character. So you'll see it's not showing anything. But, oh, this is the initial. Oh, I just realized I remember that. Usually, if you don't have any characters here, that's the initial size. But the moment you start adding characters, for example, if I put 2, notice what's going to happen to the 16. It's going to be 18 now. So the capacity usually going to be assigned by a initial value, which is 16, and then every time you add more characters, the capacity is going to be increased by that number of characters. Okay. I'm getting tired, actually. So let's just go ahead and try to get this done, and then after, maybe later, I'll post the exercises. I haven't updated Cengage yet, so after I'm done with that, I will post some exercises. Yes, I think this is the only way you can actually do something here. So if I take this one away, and let me just go and go down here and type strb dot band, and let me put here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I want you to pay attention to what's going to happen here. Let me just put this back again, just like I did before. And again, and A-P-E-N-D. Of course, what did I type? A. Okay, now look at this. This is 18 that went previously. Now if I run it, I'm going to be 18 to 16 now. So what just happened there? Okay, when you use the string to build the string builder using the constructor, whatever those number of digits is going to be added to the 16. But now what I did, I didn't put anything here, so it was 16, and now I added those 12. What if I have 17 characters here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Let's see what's going to happen. 34. So it's 17 plus what? That's what's going to be added to it. Anyway, This is basically how you add to a string if you want to. You can now use the assignment operator. Insert, you can insert in the middle. You just have to specify where, at what point you want to start inserting something. For example, let's go ahead and do that. If I go and type, and this is one of the things that string is really, really easy comparing to string builder. And that's why I told you, like, I don't use it that much. But again, people use it only if they have to. Insert, so there's nothing wrong here. Let me put it, let's say 5. And what do I want to insert at 5? Well, I want to insert A, B, C. So basically, let's just say here, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5, actually, 6. So let's run it and see what's going to happen. Here we go. So what would it mean? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this was 5. So before the 5, you can see that I got the ABC inserted. And I'm just going to explain set character at. So basically, you can have to set specific position character. You change it, and you can extract the character at. And that will be it for this unit. Give me a time and chance, and I'm going to change the Cengage, and I'm going to upload a third video, which is basically exercises about this chapter. I hope everything was clear and understandable. So remember our deal, if you have anything you don't understand, please send me an email. And I don't do anything except monitor my email 24/7. So enjoy your weekend, I guess. Today is Friday. Hope I see you guys soon. Bye.